What's up, Dr. Kim here. Today we're talking about how to overcome anxiety after a breakup. When you're anxious, your brain is likely going 100 miles an hour in the wrong direction. That's because you're worrying about the past or you're thinking about what might happen with that person in the future. Research shows us that it's best to be in the present as much as possible. It's best to think about how you can positively distract in the now and what you can do in the now to self-soothe. A researcher gave you a pill simply filled with sugar, and they told you before your workout that this is going to increase your workout significantly. You would actually be more likely to work out harder and longer. Now, that pill is not actually doing anything physiologically, but it shows how powerful your mind can be. So when the automatic thought comes in that you're never going to get over this, you can reframe it that little by little you're going to be okay. So remember how much control you have over your thoughts and be in the present moment as much as possible and conquer your anxiety. What's up, Dr. Kim here. Today we're talking about how to actually let someone go. Most of us have been through heartbreak at some point, and you are not expected to feel better day by day consecutively. Some days you'll actually feel like getting up out of bed, and some days you won't. Heartbreak can definitely feel like a death. But in the case of dating, you actually have to wrap your head around the fact that the person still exists but doesn't want you in their life. Maybe you two just weren't a fit at that moment. Avoid beating yourself up and causing yourself more pain. You're already going through enough with the pain. You don't need to add to it by talking badly about yourself. If you need someone to guide you to walk you through this, you can get a counselor at BetterHelp. You are going to get to a good place if you stop worrying about what went wrong. If you take this time to read, to learn, to set new boundaries with people, build your confidence, work on your dreams, and actually feel the pain and heal, there is going to come a day when you're thankful for this. What's up, Dr. Kim here. Today we're talking about the art of reattraction. So the first part of reattracting is to start backing off a bit. When you're communicating that you don't want that person to have space from you, you're actually being disrespectful to yourself, and you're communicating that you don't have a lot of value to add to that dynamic. During this time, you're pursuing your goals rather than that person. Once they contact you a few times, it is ideal to actually get together in person. But by this time, as hard as it is, the less attached you are to the outcome, the more that you're going to reattract. If you were taken for granted in the relationship, then you want to come off a bit indifferent. That means not being angry, not being passive-aggressive, and not being too eager to jump into things. Remember that this needs to be a new dynamic, so just because you start dating again does not mean that you start calling every day and treating it like you're back together. Treat it like you're getting to know each other again and let things happen organically. And the key is to apply these principles consistently. What's up, Dr. Kim here. Today we're talking about attachment styles and no contact. The attachment style that has the hardest time of doing no contact is anxious attachment. That's because it is very difficult to not be reassured in the moment. If that person took you for granted, you actually want them to go out, experience in the world, have that independence. So what's the attachment style that's going to take a little bit longer to come around during no contact? That's fearful avoidant. People think just because the other person has an avoidant attachment style, that means they're never going to come around. But in my experience, that's typically not the case, but they can take a little bit longer. People with anxious attachment styles a lot of times are attracted to people with avoidant attachment style. Just because you have a certain attachment style does not mean that's set in stone. You can become more secure, and one way to do that is to learn to tolerate that discomfort. And when you're seeing someone, make sure that you understand their attachment styles and communicate what works best for you. What's up, Dr. Kim here. Today we're talking about how to hyper-focus on you. There are addictive components to being in a relationship and then feeling rejected. That's why it's important to control your environment as much as possible. And although it can be somewhat exciting to figure out what your ex is doing, it can make the process more arduous. Tell your friends not to ask about your ex. In my work at rehabs, I always have them leave with a Google Calendar filled up. Look at the gaps in your schedule. How can you fill them up? Fill your calendar with things that not only give you positive distraction, but also novelty, meaning you're learning new things. If you've always wanted to learn music production, for example, buy a course on it. The truth is, the people that fill these calendars up with things like morning ritual, meditation, exercise, creativity, and learning new skills are the ones that are more likely to reattract fast, and they're also much more likely to think about their ex less. Start transferring that good energy elsewhere. What's up, Dr. Kim here. Today we're talking about how to stop thinking about your ex. Research actually shows us that it's more about internal shifts that you can make rather than just waiting around to heal. Anytime times when people are trying to get sober, they set intentions in the morning and then they look at those intentions and reflect on them at night before they go to bed. Every morning, set your intentions for the day of what you want to think, what you want to feel, and what you want to get done. You likely are trying to hold a grip on your ex. That grip that you're holding onto is not only repelling them, but it's also not freeing up space for you to be doing exactly what you need to get done. That's why the best technique for thought stoppage when you're trying to get over an ex is meditation. Meditate every day on letting go of your ex. You can even talk to them in the process, thank them for what they gave you that was actually useful. Affirm the statements of letting them go, and affirm that you're open to all the opportunities and all the dreams coming your way. What's up, Dr. Kim here. Today we're talking about getting over a breakup with science. After a breakup, our brains cannot shut off, and it creates obsessive, ruminating thoughts. But how the brain works is that it hyper-focuses on people that reject you. That means that you're not spending time thinking about the people that actually love you. They've actually done studies where they've scanned the brains of people who are in love or broken up with. What they found is that the ventral tegmental area, VTA, of the brain actually lights up when you're going through a breakup. How do they know this? Because they have the people under the MRIs actually look at pictures of their exes. While their brain lights up if they see pictures of the exes, it does not when they're simply looking at a picture of a neutral acquaintance. So 1, remind yourself about all the people that love you, that do want to be around you. And 2, be easy on yourself because this affects people on a psychological and a physiological level. What's up, Dr. Kim here. Today we're talking about fearing what your ex is doing and if they've moved on. Believe it or not, your ex does not move on as fast as you think, regardless of what they're displaying and regardless of who they're seeing or who they're spending time with. You likely had an intellectual and emotional bond. So no matter what they're doing with other people, that does not negate what they had with you. Remember that other people don't break a bond. In fact, a college study actually proved that months later, exes were still checking up on their social media and still thinking about each other. Of course, you're still going to have automatic thoughts about them. In fact, in many cases, if you've been that person that gave a lot of value in the relationship, seeing other people can actually create a contrast with them actually putting you as higher. There was a reason why they found you so valuable that they spend so much time with you. And when someone's invested, their brain does not want to let go. Start hyper-focusing on you. What's up, Dr. Kim here. Today we're talking about why most couples break up within the 1-year mark. In one study, 70% of couples reported breaking up within the first year. After 5 years, only 20% reported breaking up. So why do people usually break up on the 1-year mark? Some partners project what they want to see in the partner, so they're not seeing them as they really are. Then disillusionment kicks in. You start to realize they're not exactly what you thought. The other factor is that you don't understand what each other needs. Studies show that guys do better in relationships when you give them the tools to know how to treat you. That means actually asserting your needs to them. And guys need to be asserting that to girls as well. Realizing that the other partner is self-centered can also be a factor. Research shows that being in love can affect the brain in a sense that it can dampen our ability to critically think. And once that feeling subsides a bit, we start to realize logically that this may not be a fit. So think about all these factors and try to do the opposite so that you have a better chance of lasting.